Thanks for tuning in. I'm just gonna get started right at the beginning by showing you what these look like. Here it is when I powdered them on for the first time after getting them installed. As you can see, they look really great. Basically, this is 6 RGB fans. Company's called LEDdess, LEDdess or something. I don't know how you really would pronounce that. But anyways, under 50 bucks. I picked them up on Amazon and just thought they were a great deal. I had a set in my mining rig, and my son wanted RGB fans in his PC. So, giving these a try. Luckily, here it is. You can see I got the tempered glass cover on it now, so you can kind of see what it looks like with that cover on before it was open. But he actually had 6 spots available in his case for fans, so this worked out pretty good. So basically what I did was, and you'll see it in the installation video, but basically removing 4, he had just standard blue LED fans in there, so I just removed the 4 fans, swapped them out with these fans, then I added the 2 more to the top. So anyways, give the case a little bit more cooling than it had. Of course, give him the chance to do these color combinations like this, so he could go through, and you can see there's a lot of color combinations on this controller and for these fans. So I did a video where I toggle through each one if you really wanted to see each one, but seriously, I went like 5 seconds for each color, and it took me like it's like a 15-minute long video. You get to listen to me ramble on, or for part of it, it's horrible. But anyways, it shows you all the color combinations, but it's probably not very exciting. Here's what it looks like at night. You can see it. We just kind of turned off the lights in the room. My camera is not the greatest, so the contrast looks a little bit off. It did look brighter inside the case, but this is what they pretty much just kind of sum it up, just kind of see how bright they are. You can kind of see the glowing of like each LED. I think there must be like 18 LEDs per fan in here. So anyways, we looked out here because he did have, room for 6 fans in his case, which was nice. A lot of the fans I saw were like 5 packs or 3 packs. So for the price, getting 6 for under 50, I thought was a pretty good deal. Also, this case was, we did a little article on it on the website, but it was basically $24.99 after rebate with free shipping from Newegg, for a tempered glass case. It turned out really good. We were really happy with it. We did get the rebate back. The article was called $29 PC makeover because I did have to pay tax, so came up to 29 bucks. I'll post links down below. But anyways, it turned out to be a really good case for the price, and he's totally happy with it. Night and day between what it looked like from his old case going into this case, so that was kind of just a big major upgrade in itself. So this is what you'll pretty much be getting with the kit. You get these 6 fans, and you got the remote down there on the right, and then on the left is that fan controller. And basically what happens is all 6 of these fans will plug into that fan controller, and then you'll just plug that fan controller into your power supply, into one of the power connections on your power supply, and that's really it for the installation. So it's just pull out the old ones and plug in the new ones. So this is a disclaimer. This video is for entertainment purposes only, so if you don't know what you're doing, don't try to install these yourself. Hire a professional. You can hurt yourself or damage your equipment. That being said, you can see I'm installing it myself. I did make sure, of course, you don't have my computer is unplugged, so that's good. You don't want to be working on a computer when it's plugged in, of course. Anyways, so here I'm just going to go ahead and start pulling the glass panels off. Be careful with them, they can break. And then go ahead and start uninstalling my existing fans so I can start installing these new fans. One thing that I do want to mention, well, actually there's a couple more things I should probably mention. The first is the remote. We've had this working, my son's had it working for a few days, so with the fan controller, we ended up mounting it under the power supply shroud here and at the bottom of the case, so it's shielded a little bit. So it doesn't work from the distance that it does in my miner, where that's out in the open. So basically what that means is he can sit down at his desk with his computer. It's like 4 or 5 feet away from him, kind of in the corner of his desk, and he can do the remote and it works just fine. But once he gets probably 6 feet away from it, the remote will no longer change the fan colors and stuff, so the remote will stop working. That's probably because the controller is shrouded inside that PC, so it just doesn't work at the distance that it does for me on on my miner. So on mine, I can go about 15 feet away and it still works. I can walk outside my room, kind of around and hold the remote outside the room around the corner, and it still works. So the distance is a lot farther for me, but that's because my fan controller is out in the open and his is inside this case. But for all practical purposes, I think he's sitting at his desk and he can change it from 4 or 5 feet away. It works just fine. But anyways, I want to mention that just in case anybody was wondering about the distance that the remote will work. The second item I wanted to mention is I guess the CPU cooler, because you can see right here that the CPU cooler has a 120 millimeter fan on it as well. So I debated at the beginning. I'm like, well, he's got 6 positions for fans, but 7 if you include that CPU cooler. So I thought it might look cool to have one of these fans on that CPU cooler, but I really kind of wanted the 2 on the top. I went back and forth, and I guess what kind of made me decide not to do the CPU cooler for sure is the fan on the CPU cooler is mounted to the motherboard. It's connected to the motherboard, so the motherboard can monitor the fan speed and all that stuff. So if you were to put one of these RGB fans on it, it's going to be connected to your fan controller. So I don't know how everybody's motherboards are a little different. Some motherboards may not want to work or something without a fan plugged into that that motherboard connector for the CPU, because it wouldn't detect a fan. So I think I had a Dell one time like that, to where the CPU cooler fan went out, and then the motherboard just wouldn't boot up until you replace that, because it's checking to make sure it's there. So anyway, so right there I decided, you know what, I don't want to mess with that. If we do decide to add another RGB fan for that motherboard cooler, I'll just make it kind of a standalone that can still plug into the connector on the motherboard. So anyways, that's just a thought. If you're kind of trying to figure out where you're going to mount them, I'm not sure how you'd want to go around that. You might have to do a workaround on that or something. Downside, if I do that and get another separate fan, RGB fan, to plug it on that CPU cooler, it might look kind of funny, because now all of a sudden that fan's controlled separately and the color combinations might be different. So I don't know, just something to keep in mind. I think it looks just fine in here with just leaving my normal no LED fan on the CPU cooler. But anyways, personal preference. You may decide to do something different, and I just want to bring that up just in case, so everybody was aware of it. And here you can see I'm just still plugging away at this. I got this video running at like 2 times the speed, but still looks slow. I'm just removing these fans, the 4 screws, and then I'd mount the new one in. One thing that was kind of another thing I debated about was the top fans. So basically, I got the 3 fans in the front that are, there were existing fans there that bring in the air, so I just swapped those out and they bring in the air. I got the one in the back, and that's exhausting the air outside the case. And I'm mounting 2 on the top, and I was debating, do I want those to bring air into the case, or do I want them to exhaust air out of the case? And so I kind of went back and forth on this, and what I ended up doing was I decided to make them exhaust fans. So basically, only air is being sucked in from the front of this case, and then it's being exhausted out the back and the top. Don't know if that's the best choice, but it's been working for the last 3 days just fine. The case is staying cool inside, and it's got a lot more fans than it did. And my son's been playing games. He's been, he had the miner going at night, and it seems to be running just fine. These are also pretty quiet fans, which is nice. So and with 6 of these running, it's really nice. It's it doesn't make too much noise at all or anything. It sounds really good. So I'd say no different from what he had before, and maybe even a little bit quieter. I don't know. I'd say it's probably about the same. Really, really hard to tell. I guess I should have tried. You know what? Now that I think about it, it would have been smart to get one of my sound meter app on my phone, and I could have put it on the desk beside it before and after and compared them. Darn it, hindsight. That's what I should have done. Okay, next time I'll do that. Maybe I'll go back and do that later and just see what it is like now. But anyways, to my ears, it sounds the same. Another thing, routing these cables. I got kind of big hands. this case works pretty good, but it was a little bit of a pain trying to get them up and around the motherboard on the corner because all the cable management on this case is kind of in the back, and you're going to find every case is a little bit different. But I tried to keep it clean, keep the cables out of the front, so you don't really see them, and route everything to the back. So it worked out pretty good. But in the end, it did get a little messy in the back there, and I had it cleaner before these, but you don't see it. The cover's on it, so I guess if you don't see it, it's not there. So anyways, then I just used some tie wraps and everything to kind of tie them in place. Another good upgrade we did do on this PC recently was replace the boot drive with an SSD drive. Now, I know a lot of you already probably have done that, and it's such, I mean, that's just such an awesome upgrade. If you haven't done it yet, you can pick up SSD drives for cheap now. I mean, you can get like 120 gig SSD drive for under 30 bucks. I think, 25, 30 bucks. So what we put in here with a 500 gig Western Digital SSD drive, and that's the boot drive, and then also the original mechanical hard drive. That's just kind of the storage drive. So anyways, the computer boots up so much faster with these SSD drives, and again, the prices are getting so reasonable. It's really nice. So basically, that's all we did. I mean, this is a little bit older computer. It's got a GTX 1060 video card, which works awesome. So it's kind of a uses this for homework, gaming, and doing a little bit of CAD work and stuff. We got a 3D printer, so kind of playing around with that, and doing design work, and that GTX 1060 works out pretty good for that. Most games and everything. Anyways, so far it's been a awesome computer. It's a 6-core processor. It's a AMD 6-core. Still plugging away on these fans. I mean, it took a little while to do it. I mean, I don't know, I was probably done within like 30 minutes, but I stopped to take a couple pictures, and had this little video running and had to pause it and stop it and all that stuff. But otherwise, it didn't take too long to just pull the old ones out and get these plugged in. So that's about sums it up. It's funny because I was thinking I could play a little bit of music in here or something to kind of pass the time, but I guess sometimes I don't like those videos when they just set in the whole thing's like some soundtrack that non-commercialized soundtrack that you're allowed to play and everything. Just kind of, I don't know, tune it out anyways. But I'll just ramble on a little bit more. The fans came with screws and everything, so really wasn't too much anything else I can think you need. I mean, it's literally just I think I used a Phillips screwdriver to install these, and then I had a bunch of tie wraps I had to cut, so I grabbed my snips. So basically that's about all I used to install these fans, so it doesn't get much easier than that. And then I had a few tie wraps on hand too to kind of re-tie wrap the cables once I got done. So anyways, went together fast. What else did we do on these? Here you can see I got the fans in. Fans on the front, fans on the top. Again, top and back are exiting air out, and the front ones are bringing air in. And that one on the CPU cooler is that black one with no LEDs I had mentioned, and that's just kind of blowing air through that heatsink. So here it is. There you can see my Western Digital SSD drive on the back that we'd put in. That thing's great. Here's the fan controller. Basically, so once I got the fans installed, it's just, you can see I plugged in all 6 fans into the fans 1 through 6 position. And then on the end, there's this power connector that goes to the power supply, and it's one of these 4-pin Molex that just connects to your power supply. So I just grabbed a empty slot right there and just plug it in. I mean, and that's it. I mean, literally, that's it. You take these fans, you plug them into that controller, you plug the controller into your power supply. So at this point, I'm ready to pretty much plug it in and power it on, and there you go. I mean, works great. I kind of gave it a quick little test before I button all the cabling back up, just make sure everything's good. But they start up, and again, just seems like a really good deal. When I was price shopping anyways for getting 6 fans, it was really the best price. Anyways, thanks for taking the time to watch this video. I mean, I really appreciate it. If you liked it, it'd be awesome if you could throw up a like, and if you want to subscribe. I don't do a lot of videos, but I kind of, definitely appreciate anybody subscribing. Anyways, thanks again for checking it out, and everybody have a good day. And if you have any questions, just leave them in the comments below, or hit me up on Facebook or something. Thanks a lot.